Hey Buell the VC, it's Andy Cloudy Mulder. Got 5 more new wave of British heavy metal bands to share with you today. This is a follow-up for a video I did probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago now, where I showed releases that I had from 5 British bands to try and promote them, I guess, and to share the music that I've been enjoying over the last few months. Today, 5 different bands, various stages of their career. Some have albums out, some just have EPs, some of them have deals, some of them don't have deals. But the one thing they've got in common is they're all putting out some killer British metal. First band I'm going to show, and this is an absolute killer release. This is by a band called Eliminator, and the album's called Last Horizon. This came out this year, and I'm not taking it out of the packet because I bought this, and then a few weeks later I found out they released it on vinyl, and the artwork is so amazing. I just had to get it as well. The artwork on here was done by a guy called Piper, and apparently he is known as being an artist on comic books such as 2000 AD. And yeah, just when you talk about whether people love the covers of records over CDs, this is one cover that just really comes to life on an LP cover rather than a CD. But I wouldn't have bought it on record just for the cover. It is just a killer album from the start, 2019. Then goes into the title track is brilliant as well, The Last Horizon, and just all the way through. It's a really well produced album. It's on Back on Black on the record, and Dissonance Productions on CD. Eliminator, they're from Lancaster in England. I'm not sure when they formed. I can't find a lot of information on this band, but they are a straight up traditional heavy metal band. You can hear this album on Bandcamp. I will leave a link below. I'll try and dig out a YouTube video of one of their songs as well, one of the ones I like, and I'll leave that below. But you can listen and buy this on you can listen and buy it digitally on Bandcamp, and the CD and album is available through Amazon sellers. So I would thoroughly recommend checking out Eliminator and their album Last Horizon. There's the nice custom label as well, just plain black vinyl. Second band, so this isn't so much a traditional heavy metal band as a band that has its roots in early European power metal. So think Halloween, well, across kind of Halloween Iron Maiden mix. And this is Starborn and their album The Dreaming City. This is on Storm Spell Records, and this was released in 2015, I believe. The band themselves were formed in 2014. They're from Newcastle upon Tyne in England. But yeah, it's so the Halloween influences are clear, but it's not a rip-off. There's a picture of the band. There you go. And they list their influences as Blind Guardian, Iron Maiden, Fate's Warning, Halloween, Liege Lord, Metal Church, Edge of Insanity, Diamond King, Savatage, and a few others. So bit of a mix of styles, but it comes together really well. And this is a really good album. Or is it more of an EP, I guess? There's 5 tracks on it, but you can pick this up on Bandcamp for £5, and also on the Storm Spell Records website in the States for $5, I think it is. Had a look today and they still have copies. So I would thoroughly recommend checking out Starborn. Again, I'll put some links below so you can check it out yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Third band I've got for you today is, they're more of class themselves as hard rock, classic rock, but I think there's a little bit of speed metal, rock and roll in there as well. It's another band from Newcastle upon Tyne in England, so it sounds like the metal scene is alive and well in there. And these guys are called Speeder, and this is their self-titled first album. This came out last year, 2017. And so on the album, they're shown as a 4-piece. And if you can see here, this is I bought this off their Bandcamp site or Big Cartel site, and it's signed by the band. Just if you look closely, which is a nice touch. Self-released, looks like a CDR, but yeah, self-released. So I believe these guys are unsigned. On Facebook, they only show them as a 3-piece, so more of a power trio now, I guess, than when this album was recorded. The only issue, I mean, there's a good 11 tracks on here. It's well worth it. I think it would cost me £10 to pick this up from their Big Cartel site. The only thing I found annoying about this is the first track, Speeder, has it's like a 50-second intro, and it's the sound of someone sort of revving a bike, and there's a crowd in the background. It's like picking up the sounds of turning up to the gig before going on stage, and it's kind of interesting when you hear it the first time, but when you hear it every time you play the album, the 50-second intro between putting the CD on and actually hearing the music is just a bit too long. But it doesn't take away from the fact this is a really, really good album. There's lots of influences in here. You listen through and you think, oh, that sounds a bit like this band, that sounds a bit like that band, but all together it gels really well, and they don't just sound like one band. There's a little bit of Motorhead in there, maybe a bit of Maiden, certainly some AC/DC, a lot more solos in there, I guess, than you'd expect on something like a Motorhead album. But it was really interesting trying to pick out those influences with it. But yeah, I'd recommend Speeder. Check them out on Bandcamp. I believe this you can listen to the whole album on there. Again, links below. Good band. Next one up. So this is a band I got introduced to on the CD that I showed in the first episode of this, and I'll leave a link to that one here as well. And it was a compilation of traditional of new metal, British metal bands, and this was one of the bands that was on there, and they're called Vuil. Quite difficult to read their symbol then, looks a bit like a bat, and this is an EP called Hell. You see from the back they're a 2-piece, guitarist and bass and vocals, so I don't know who plays the drums, whether one of those does or they have a session drummer. I guess it doesn't really matter. So it's a 6-track EP, and this is pretty cool as well. So this is these were formed in 2012, and they're a Scottish band. I'm not quite sure where they come from in Scotland. I'm guessing maybe Glasgow, but they're very much more in the speed metal, heavy metal, speed metal bracket. There's the inside, some action shots, and the lyrics. It's really, really good. So 6-track EP. You can get this off Bandcamp for just £4. If you're into speed metal, do check this out. Apparently it's going to be released on vinyl towards the end of the year. Certainly one to watch. The only other thing I have by them, I think they've had 2 singles out in the past. One of them is just not obtainable anymore, and the second one is this split 7-inch with a band called Abigail. Now Abigail are, I think they're a Japanese band, obviously heavily influenced by Diamond Head, Merciful Fate. So this is the 2 tracks from Vuil. In fact, they listed a drummer on here, Co the Barbarian, the guitar Speedy Boarding, and the bass Dean Weenburner Fast. And then that's Abigail on the flip side. But Abigail, they're Japanese. We're not interested in them in this video, although they are very good and worth a check out in their own right. There we go. So that was a nice pickup as well. A couple of good tracks on there by Vuil. I think Vuil is there's a Dutch word that translates to dirt, and that kind of seems appropriate. The lyrics are all kind of a bit sort of doom and gloom, and Hellraister, Ancient Spell, Storm of Witches, Sword Queen. So it's kind of dark, not really satanic, but still really, really good. Very much kind of a mixture between maybe sort of Motorhead, Venom, but again, not a rip-off of either of them. Really, really good sort of ball-busting speed metal, for want of a better term. And the last one, number 5, is another band that is currently unsigned. This is a 5-piece from Merseyside, so I'm guessing probably Liverpool in England, or certainly that area. And they're called Forlorn Hope. And this is just a 3-track EP. So these guys, I don't exactly know when they were formed. I couldn't find that information. But they're kind of, I describe them as epic heavy metal. But they use keyboards as well to give themselves a really kind of rich sound with it. But it's keyboards done properly. Those of you who watch my videos a lot know I have a lot of issues when keyboards become too prominent, but they really use the keyboards to enhance the sound, and it's yeah, it just sounds majestic. It's brilliant. It's really, really good. All 3 songs on here, I don't know if all 3 songs on here are going to be on their new album. So they've got an album coming out this year, I believe, called Over the Hills. And Forlorn Hope, all their songs are kind of they have a historic theme, and the album coming out, all the songs, I'm going to have to read this, are about stories of horror and heroism from the Peninsular War of 1807 to 1814. So I'm guessing more sort of, the songs have a common theme rather than it being a concept album, but I'm really looking forward to them releasing an album. You see, it's signed by one of the band on the front. When I picked it off Bandcamp, I did ask if they could, if it wasn't too much hassle, if they could, everyone could sign it. I kind of do, you can ask on Bandcamp, you don't always get. And he had a bit of a flap, I think, trying to get everybody to sign it. He was emailing me regularly, going, the band haven't got together, and we're not all together, or band practice was cancelled. And when he sent it on, he did send a rather nice little note along, which I thought was pretty nice, saying, apologising for not getting it signed by everybody, but it really didn't matter. It just would have been a bonus. This EP, they have just re-released it, I think, in the last week or so, with a picture cover, same tracks on it, but it's like a second pressing, so this is the first pressing of the CD. But check out Forlorn Hope, something a little different, especially if you like sort of, if you're into your sort of history and the history of battles and wars and whatnot, then Forlorn Hope might be a band that you will dig. Again, I will leave a link to them in their Bandcamp site below. So that's it. So that's my 5 bands this week. Eliminator, Vuil, Speeder, Forlorn Hope, and I have missed one out. Starborn. They're really good. I shouldn't have forgotten them. Yeah, thanks for watching, and there'll be 5 more bands coming soon. All British, all playing great heavy metal. Please check out these bands, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, bye.